The unusual job of Zervac had worked on Star Station 9 for many years. He had taken care of alien kids from almost every world in the galaxy. Some had wings and needed flying space. Some could breathe underwater and had to play in special tanks. Some could even change their shapes when they were happy or scared. But one thing had never happened before. No one had ever asked him to take care of a human child. Humans, as far as Zervac knew, were rare in this part of space. They were still a young species in galactic terms. Most aliens said humans were fragile, too emotional, and always getting into trouble. But there were also whispers. Whispers that humans could do strange and unexpected things. Things that made stronger species. Nervous that morning, Zervac was cleaning the play hall when his communicator beeped. The message was short. Special assignment, human child, diplomat family, full pay in advance. Zervac read it twice, his 4 eyes blinking slowly. A human child on this station? And they were giving him full pay before the job even started. That meant only one thing. The parents were important, very important. When the station doors slid open, Zervac saw the parents first. They were tall for humans, dressed in clean silver clothes. Their faces were calm, but their eyes kept scanning the hall like they were checking for danger. Between them stood the child, small, thin, wearing a jacket that looked too big for him. His hair was messy, his eyes bright, and he was not smiling. In fact, he looked curious. "This is Leo," the human father said. "Please keep him safe until we return. We will be gone for exactly 7 hours." Zervac nodded. "Of course. I will keep him safe. We have many fun activities here." Leo tilted his head. "Do you have an escape pod?" he asked. Zervac froze. "An escape pod? Why would you need that?" Leo shrugged. "Just wondering." The parents left quickly, and Zervac was alone with the boy. He decided to start with something easy. "Come, Leo, let's go to the play hall," he said. The boy followed, but his eyes kept moving. He wasn't looking at the toys or the other kids. He was looking at the doors, the vents, the control panels, like he was mapping the place in his head. Zervac thought maybe humans were just curious by nature. Still, he felt a small chill in his chest. In the play hall, Zervac turned to get some snacks for Leo. It took him only 3 seconds to grab a food tray. When he turned back, Leo was gone. Zervac's heart skipped a beat. He scanned the hall, but there was no sign of the boy. Then he heard it. A soft clink from above. He looked up and saw Leo halfway up the wall, climbing the metal rungs toward the maintenance level. Above him was the reactor vent, a place no child should ever go near. "Leo, stop!" Zervac shouted. The boy didn't stop. Zervac leapt forward, his long arms reaching, and grabbed Leo by the back of his jacket. He pulled him down to the floor. "Do you know how dangerous that is?" Zervac said, his voice sharp. Leo just smiled. "I was checking if it works." Zervac blinked. "If what works?" "The vent. It's not sealed properly. I think someone could use it to get in." For a moment, Zervac didn't know what to say. How could a human child know that? Even the station's engineers wouldn't notice something like that so quickly. "Leo, you must stay where I can see you," Zervac said, trying to sound firm. The boy just nodded, but Zervac had the strange feeling he wasn't really agreeing. He was just thinking. As they walked to another area, Leo looked up and asked casually, "Do pirates come here often?" Zervac frowned. "Pirates? No, not often. This is a secure station." Leo just hummed like he wasn't convinced. Then he pointed at a small side door. "Where does that go?" Zervac hesitated. "That is a maintenance tunnel. Only engineers use it." Leo's eyes lit up for a second before he looked away. Zervac made a mental note. This human was asking too many questions. By the time they reached the quiet reading corner, Zervac was more alert than usual. He had thought this job would be simple. Just keep the child entertained until the parents came back. But Leo wasn't like any child Zervac had met. He was watching everything, noticing things others ignored. And somewhere deep inside, Zorvik felt it. This day was not going to be normal, not at all. Asterisk. The first shock, the station lights flickered. Just for a second, Zorvik didn't panic. Power glitches were rare but not impossible. He tapped the possible wall console to check the systems. Everything looked normal. But when he turned around, Leo was gone again. Leo? Zorvik called, scanning the room. Silence. Only the soft hum of machines. Zorvik's eyes caught movement. A shadow slipping behind a shelf of old simulation helmets. Zorvik rushed over and found Leo sitting calmly, helmet already on his head. He was inside a simulation pod, fingers dancing across the control panel like he'd done it 100 times before. Leo, stop. That's not a toy, Zorvik said, pulling the pod door open. Leo looked up and smiled. Don't worry, I'm not playing. Zorvik narrowed his eyes. Then what are you doing? Leo pressed one more button and the screen lit up with a live feed. It wasn't a game. It was a real-time map of the space station, showing every corridor, airlock, and life form. Zorvik's breath caught in his throat. How did you unlock that menu? Only security staff can. It wasn't locked well, Leo said simply. I wanted to check where the escape pods really are. Before Zorvik could reply, a loud alarm blared through the station. Bright red lights flashed above. Emergency. Outer dock breach. Security alert. Zorvik grabbed Leo's arm. We need to move now, but Leo pulled back. Don't go to the safety room, he said, serious for the first time. What? They'll check that first. Trust me. It's a trap. Zorvik was frozen for a moment. How could this kid talk like that? Like he'd been through this before, like he knew what was coming. There's a better place, Leo said, already running. Zorvik had no choice but to follow. They darted through a storage room, past dark maintenance pipes and buzzing wires. Leo moved fast and silent, like he knew every turn. Zorvik was breathing hard, not from the running, but from confusion. This wasn't a normal child. This wasn't even a normal human. Where are we going? Zorvik asked as they crawled through a narrow tunnel. Leo pointed forward. The old engineering bay. It has a manual override panel. I saw it on the map. Zorvik stopped, stunned. You memorized the station map in 10 seconds. Leo nodded. It was simple. They reached the bay, dark and dusty. No one had used it in years. Leo opened a control panel, revealing wires, circuits, and a hidden slot. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small black chip. It didn't look like a toy. It looked like military tech. Where did you get that? Zorvik asked, backing up a step. Leo said nothing. Just plugged the chip in. A screen blinked to life, showing a list of pirate ships docking outside the station. They're fast, Leo said, but I can lock them out. Maybe even trap them. Zorvik stared, speechless. You're just a child. Leo glanced at him, calm and cold. Unhuman, remember? Zorvik didn't know what scared him more, the pirates or the boy standing next to him. Trouble in the station. The alarm didn't stop. It grew louder, deeper, almost like the station itself was afraid. Zorvik's ears twitched at a low rumble, the sound of heavy boots hitting metal floors. They're inside, Leo said quietly. Zorvik's 4 eyes widened. You can hear them already? Leo tilted his head. No, I can feel them. They were still in the dark engineering bay, the dusty smell mixing with the sharp scent of hot wires. On the flickering screen, red dots moved, pirate life signs. They weren't heading for the vault or cargo rooms. They were moving toward the daycare sector. Zorvik's stomach sank. They're coming for the children, he whispered. Leo's hands moved fast over the controls. That's because children are valuable, not for ransom, for leverage. Zorvik stepped closer. What do you mean, leverage? Leo looked up, his face serious in the dim light. If they take the kids, the station captain won't fight back. He'll open every lock, every safe, just to get them back. Before Zorvik could respond, there was a metallic crash outside the bay. Voices, not human, not friendly, deep growls mixed with clicks. The language of the Krex Raiders. They were brutal scavengers, famous for leaving no survivors. Leo didn't panic. Instead, he pulled the black chip out of the panel and slipped it back into his pocket. "Time to move," he said. Zorvik grabbed his arm. "Where?" Leo pointed toward a small hatch at the back of the room. "Maintenance shaft. Go straight under the daycare." Zorvik followed, crawling through the narrow space. The air was warm and dry, the sound of footsteps above them getting closer. Then, Leo stopped and pressed his ear to the metal floor. "They've split into two groups," he said. "One is taking the main hallway. The other is coming through the service entrance." Zorvik stared at him. "How can you possibly know that without seeing them?" Leo smirked. "Humans are good at patterns." They reached the end of the shaft, where a round hatch led into the floor of the daycare play hall. Through the small gap, Zorvik could see the other alien kids, a pair of Solari twins with crystal skin, a floating Vathlin orb, and a shy Grell child hiding under a table. They were all unaware of the danger coming. Leo whispered, "We have 1 minute before they arrive." Zorvik's mind raced. "We can't fight them," Leo shook his head. "We don't need to fight. We just need to confuse them." From his jacket, Leo pulled out a small silver sphere. "What is that?" Zorvik asked. "Noise bomb. Makes them hear things that aren't real," Leo explained. Before Zorvik could protest, Leo twisted the sphere, and a faint pulse rippled through the air. It was silent at first, but then the sound of heavy machinery filled the hallway above them. Not real machinery, an illusion. The Krex Raiders' footsteps stopped. Zorvik could hear them muttering, confused. Then, just as planned, they turned and ran toward the fake sound. Leo grinned. "Now we have time to move the kids." As they lifted the hatch and stepped into the daycare, Zorvik felt something strange. He was supposed to be protecting this human child, but in reality, the human was protecting everyone else. The kids' plan. Zorvik hurried the alien children into a small storage room behind the daycare. The door sealed with a soft hiss. The little ones were scared now. The Solari twins' crystal skin was flickering. The floating orb had dimmed to a pale glow. Zorvik looked at Leo. "We wait here until security clears the station," he said firmly. Leo shook his head. "If we wait, they'll find us." Zorvik frowned. "The pirates don't know we're here." "Yes, they do," Leo replied. "They're tracking heat signatures. This room has bad insulation. In 2 minutes, we'll glow like a beacon on their scanners." Zorvik's throat tightened. "How do you know that?" Leo didn't answer. Instead, he knelt beside a cleaning unit in the corner. With quick hands, he removed the cover, revealing its small energy core. The kids watched silently as Leo pulled a thin wire from his jacket and began connecting it to the core. Zorvik stepped closer. "What are you doing?" Leo said, "We can't outrun them, but we can hide in plain sight." He slid the core into a metal box, then attached a small device no bigger than a coin. A faint hum filled the room. Zorvik felt a strange tingle in the air. His skin sensors told him his body temperature was dropping. The Solari twins blinked in surprise as their crystal flickers slowed. Even the floating orb stopped glowing. "It's masking our heat," Zorvik whispered. Leo nodded. "For 5 minutes. After that, we need to move." The sound of boots echoed outside the door. The Krex voices were closer now. One of them growled, "They're in here." "I can smell them." Zorvik froze, but Leo's face stayed calm. The pirates pushed the door open and stepped inside without looking at the far corner. Their alien eyes scanned the room, saw nothing alive, and turned away. They left, sealing the door behind them. Zorvik let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Leo stood, sliding the coin-sized device back into his pocket. "We go now," he said. "Go where?" Zorvik asked, still trying to catch up. "To the lower docks," Leo answered. "They have manual override controls for the station's grav field. If I can reverse it, the pirates won't be able to move at all." Zorvik stared at him. "You're just a kid." How do you even know how to do this? Leo paused, and for the first time his voice was quieter. I wasn't supposed to tell you, but I've trained for this since I was 5, because someday, the pirates won't just be after cargo. Zorvak didn't know what that meant. But the way Leo said it made his heart beat faster. This wasn't just a babysitting job anymore. This was a mission, and the human child was leading it. The impossible move. The lower docks were darker than Zorvak remembered. Half the lights flickered, the rest were dead. The air smelled of fuel and old metal, somewhere deep in the shadows. A slow mechanical hum rattled the floor. Zorvak kept the children close. But Leo moved ahead without hesitation. This way, Leo whispered, pointing to a control tower built into the wall. The glass at the top was cracked, the door sealed with a rusty lock. Zorvak stepped forward, ready to force it open, but Leo stopped him. Too loud, he said. He pulled a thin strip of metal from his sleeve, no bigger than a nail, and slid it into the lock. With 2 quick turns, the door clicked open. Zorvak blinked. Where did you learn that? Leo didn't answer, just climbed inside. The control room was cramped, its panels covered in dust. Leo brushed it away and began pressing switches, his small hands moving fast. Zorvak stood guard by the door, watching for shadows in the hall. Finally, Leo found it. A large lever with a warning label. Gravity Control Manual Override. This will reverse the grav field for the whole dock, Leo explained. They'll float helplessly. Easy to trap. Zorvak's jaw tightened. And us? Leo smirked. Hold on to something. He pulled the lever. A deep vibration shook the floor. The air seemed to push upward. Metal crates rose slowly. Screws and tools lifted into the key. Air. Even Zorvak's feet felt lighter. It was working. Then, without warning, a second alarm screamed. On the control screen, a red message flashed. Critical override safety lock engaged. What's wrong? Zorvak asked. Leo's eyes narrowed. Someone's fighting me. Through the glass. Zorvak saw them. 2 Krex pirates clinging to the wall, wearing magnetic boots. One of them had a data spike plugged into the dock's main conduit. They're reversing your reversal. Zorvak shouted. Leo's hands flew over the controls. But the pirates were fast. In seconds, half the dock's gravity snapped back on. 1 crate slammed to the floor so hard it cracked open, spilling glowing blue fuel. Too late, Leo muttered. No, Zorvak growled, stepping forward. For the first time that day, Zorvak wasn't just following the boy, he was acting. He grabbed a heavy wrench floating in midair and hurled it at the pirate's data spike. The hit sparked violently, and the spike burst into smoke. The gravity control lights flickered. Leo seized the moment, shoving the lever to full reverse. This time, the override went through. In an instant, the entire dock turned into a zero-gravity trap. Pirates, crates, and tools drifted helplessly in the air. Zorvak clung to the control panel, the children gripping his legs. Leo floated near the center, completely calm. They can't move without boots, Leo said. But we only have about 4 minutes before they cut power completely. Zorvak's chest tightened. 4 minutes to do what? Leo gave a small smile. To end this. Asterisk the truth about the kid. The pirates drifted helplessly in the air, claws swiping at nothing. Some shouted in their harsh Krex language. Others just floated. Spinning slowly, Zorvak kept his eyes on them. Leo kept his eyes on the clock. 3 minutes, Leo said calmly. As if they had all the time in the galaxy, Zorvak crouched beside him. We can't hold them forever. The moment they fix the grav field, they'll come for us. Leo nodded. That's why I'm ending this now. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the black chip again. This time, Zorvak noticed something he hadn't before. It wasn't just smooth metal. It had tiny patterns etched into it, shifting like living symbols. What is that? Zorvak asked. Leo hesitated, then answered, It's called an origin key. Zorvak's eyes widened. Every spacer knew the word. A key was said to be a relic from before the current galactic map even existed. A device built by the first starfarers, A device that could open any system, any network, any lock. But that was legend myth. You're telling me you have one? Zorvek whispered. Leo slid the chip into the dock's master control slot. The screen flared to life, brighter than it should have. Symbols raced across the display, not in Krex, not in Galactic Standard. Zorvek didn't recognize a single one. Where did you get that? He demanded. Leo didn't look up. It was given to me. I'm part of a program. Humans call it the first contact children. Zorvek frowned. What does that mean? Leo kept typing. It means we are trained to go where adults can't. Places where diplomacy fails. Places where war is coming. We're the test. Zorvek felt his stomach twist. This was more than babysitting, more than pirates. This human child was here for a reason, and not by accident. A deep chime rang from the console. Leo's eyes narrowed. They've been talking to someone, not just pirates. Someone else sent them here. Zorvek leaned in. Who? Leo's voice was low, almost a whisper. I think they were looking for me. The chip glowed faintly now. Zorvek could feel the hum through the floor. Outside, the pirates had stopped shouting. They were listening, not to each other, but to something over their comes. Leo pulled the chip free. I can lock them in their own ships, he said. But if I do, we'll have to run before backup arrives. And Zorvek. He finally looked up, his eyes sharper than any child's. Should be. They won't stop. Not after today. Zorvek felt something he hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not even anger, but the cold certainty that his life had just been tied to something far bigger than himself. The last surprise, cliffhanger. The pirates' ships were silent now. Leo's chip had locked every hatch, sealed every control. They floated in the dock like dead metal beasts. Zorvek could almost believe it was over. Then the station's main speakers came to life. Not the captain's voice, not security, but a voice that was cold and steady. Return the human, or we will burn this station. Every child in the room froze. Zorvek felt his heart slam in his chest. They know you're here, he said slowly. Leo didn't answer. Instead, he walked to the nearest window and looked at the stars. From the dark side of the system, a shadow moved. Not a ship, something bigger, something that blotted out the light. Zorvak's skin sensors screamed with warning as his brain tried to understand the shape. It wasn't Krek's design. It wasn't from any alien species he knew. Leo spoke without turning around. They're not here for the pirates. They were only a distraction. Zorvak's voice was tight. Then who are they? Leo finally looked at him. The reason humans started the first Contact Children program, he said, because one day they would come back. The shadow kept growing. Lights flickered along its edges, not normal ship lights, but strange patterns. Zorvek realized they weren't blinking at random. They were talking, not in sound, not in words, but in light. Leo's eyes reflected the glow. I can read it, he said quietly. Zorvek blinked. You can? What are they saying? Leo's face was calm, but his voice was colder than space itself. They're saying, the human is ours. Before Zorvek could react, his communicator buzzed. A private encrypted channel. The message was short. Prepare for another assignment. Bring the human. Zorvek looked at Leo. The boy was already picking up his backpack. He smiled, not the smile of a child, but the smile of someone who knew exactly where they were going, and exactly how dangerous it would be. The shadow outside blocked the last of the starlight. Somewhere deep in the station, something groaned, and Zorvek knew this was not the end, it was the beginning.